All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is our first round of EdTech Madness. And in this round, we're going to look at 4 multi-purpose EdTech tools that kind of have a lot of bells and whistles to them that are super practical for teachers, but some of them also have some features for students. And just to preface this, the main document where you have all the listings of the sessions is also where I'm going to put these recordings, as well as my slides and resources that I share, including some of the promo codes to upgrade your free access to paid access for these tools. Additionally, if you're wondering how I have an outfit change in the middle of this video, I forgot to record the first part of this on the sessions we had for this day, so I'm splicing some videos together. So if it seems like an abrupt change in the middle of the session, it's because I recorded the second half of a training, but not the first half. So to start off, our goals for the session include looking at some of these tools. If you want my resources, the bit.ly is also on the screen in a couple different parts. So bit.ly, mmtools1. Goals that we're going to be looking at for EdTech tools, and then identifying the benefits of using these tools in your environment. So first off, I'm looking at about 3 or 4 minutes about each tool is Canva. So Canva is a graphic design tool, and it's amazing because all of our staff and students have access to Canva here in BCSC. So if you go to canva.com, you'll be prompted to sign in and make sure you use your BCSC Google account. And I'm telling you to use your BCSC Google account for a couple of different reasons. One of those, it's super easy, but if you sign in with that account, you get all of these amazing features that you won't get on a personal account. So your BCSC Google account is a Canva for Education license, and Canva is so generous to give all of us premium features, unlimited storage, all of the different design templates and pictures and videos without the watermark that they do if you try to use a personal or free version of Canva. Our students have access to this tool so they could make different things. It is a graphic design tool, so you can use it to make visuals like digital posters, newsletters, signs. Can also use it for presentations. It has videos, there's AI tools baked into it now. There really is a lot that you can do. If you have an idea, chances are Canva can help you execute that idea and also make it look good along the way. There are millions of templates available in Canva for you to pull from. So if you're like, I love this tool, but I'm not necessarily a designer, or that's not one of my skills, this will help you. There's templates you can pull from that take minimal effort for something to look amazing. Plus, it is cloud-based, so it auto-saves. It's always there for you. We have unlimited storage, so you can make as many things as you want in Canva, and it's there and it's yours. And you can also share your resources with another person so they can help you and edit that in real time. Your students can do the same, and there's lots of cool ways you can export this, so it's nice to print. You can attach it to your Canva courses, your Canvas courses, build them into Canvas assignments, view-only links, template links. So it's just super easy for you to get your resources to whatever audience you need to. So one of the best things that I'm going to highlight in Canva in this session is that there's thousands, honestly, probably millions at this point, of templates out there for you to use. So here are just some examples on the screen of the tons of different templates that Canva has. I'm going to be pulling up my Canva account here in a second so you can see just some of the many ways that I've used it, but also the templates that are there and available for you. So if you're on Canva, it's super easy to get to the screen. Just type in canva.com and you'll see some of these templates. So I could spend hours just perusing all of the ones that are out there. I know we have some people in the district who love using this tool, use it all of the time, and honestly create some really amazing things in their courses. So if I pull up my Canva account, this is probably where it takes you the first time you sign in and start using it. So you have all of these different templates. I can filter by the type of material that I'm wanting to create, or I can just draw some inspiration. And the cool part about us having a Canva for Education account is that you'll see some education-focused templates pop up at first glance. So anything from nice like visuals and headers for your Canvas courses and your documents, to brainstorm boards for your students, to graphic organizers for essays, to slideshows and certificates and things that you might need to do throughout the course of the school year. You can also upload any design of yours and then beautify it in Canva if you need to. And I'll save that tutorial for another day. So here are just some examples of things that I've made in Canva, including my slides presentation that I'm using for you all today. I'm not trying to sway you by doing that. I just had a lot of Canva resources already made in Canva, and I want to save myself some time editing. It's super easy to share your designs in Canva as well. So if you pick a template like that, you can, once you select it, it's yours to edit and customize. And after you've edited it and made it your own and you want to share it with someone else, top corner of the screen is where you can share it with another person. So it's almost like Google in the sense that you can have a link, and if you give that link to someone, they can view it. You can use that link and set it up to where someone can edit. If they have that link, you can individually assign people as collaborators, just like what you can do in Google. And what's really cool and a lesser known feature that I love in Canva is, let's say I have a template here like this tutorial and I want to share it with other people in the district. So if I want to share this with someone to where they have their own copy automatically made for them and my template stays mine, any edits they make don't affect it, there's a really cool template option link in Canva. So I'll click the share button, go further down to where it maybe says more, and then from there I'll do a template link. So it copies that for me, I create it, send it along, just a nice little confetti for me. And now if I share this link with someone, they get their own version and my original stays the way that I want it to. So kind of a cool feature there. If you want to put your Canva courses into your Canvas course, we do have that added in as a plugin in Canvas. So you can attach any Canva design and embed it in your Canvas course pages or on assignments, but you can also put any Canva design and it automatically creates copies of that template for your students. So how amazing is that? Giving them their own design and it integrates in Canvas so then you can easily grade it, get it all set up and going from there. Other pieces that I love in Canva are some of these fun keyboard shortcuts. So these keyboard shortcuts are only for presentations or slideshows that you make in Canva. So it won't work on like a document, a collaborative brainstorm board, or like a social media template they have in there. It's only for presentations, but it is pretty spectacular. So it's cool. You have to go into present mode first. And if you're curious about how to do that, it is relatively easy. I'm going to toggle out of it really quick so you can see, perhaps. Let me move some of my controls here on the screen for you so it's easier to see. So if I click my present button, then I'll do present one more time. And now I'm in that mode. So the C does nice confetti rain. D does a drum roll. M is mic drop. O, not number 0, letter O, does some really nice little floating bubbles. We have B for blur slide. Maybe. It doesn't like it if I have multiple tabs open. There we go. So I think this one's helpful for suspense or if you're wanting to stop and get to students' attention, like if you need to reteach something or go over it with students one more time, I could see this one being super, super helpful. So I love it for that reason. Another example is we just do the B again, then it will bring your screen back into focus. Q is quiet. You know, maybe you're about to have an unannounced observation. You see your administrator walking in. You want to remind the kids, like, be on your best behavior. Q button does that. The U does an umbrella, not an umbrella, a curtain call. So it keeps it like this. Maybe this is how students come into the room right before you introduce something that's new. We do the U again. How amazing is that? Applause, all the fun things. And this is the one I find to be the most practical because I'm not always the best about putting in timers into my presentations when I'm planning them, but I know I need them just to keep myself on track, but also the people attending my session. So if I do any number 1 through 9, it's going to open a timer. So if I want a little 3-minute timer here for you to play with these tools, do the number 3, puts it there. I can add minutes to it just by, clicking that number on my keyboard. If I click the number again, like I have 5 minutes right now, it takes it away. So super easy to do, add in those timers on the fly, and there's nice little music that goes with it. So it's not just a harsh beeping. You can have some ambient sounds in the background. So those are just some fun keyboard shortcuts in Canva. All right. So next little piece here in Canva before we move on is that Canva is amazing for making your slides interactive as well. This is one of those hidden treasures in Canva. So whenever you are, this is only available in presentation mode, again, almost like those keyboard shortcuts like what I just showed you, is that in Canva Live, it takes your presentation here and makes it to where it's interactive for your audience. So there's a lot of research and data out there that shows that static presentations where you're just talking at people are not the best way for them to remember what you're sharing or staying focused. So building in some opportunities for them to collaborate or to give you some input answer some questions and interact is always preferred. And Canva can support that. So it's almost like bringing in that interactive feel like what you can do in Nearpod and Pear Deck and CuriePod, but it's all in Canva. This is great if you're someone who presents to people that maybe aren't classroom teachers or aren't even in our district, because all you have to do is have a QR code and the code to this presentation to participate. You can join on a cell phone, any device. You don't even have to have a Canva account to be able to participate in this live session. So what I'm going to do is move out of presentation mode to show you how to turn it on. I'm going to move my camera over so you can see me a little bit easier. So if I click present, I'm going to go back into presentation mode, like where I just was. And then on the very bottom of my screen, there's some additional buttons like zooming in and out, full screen, not full screen. And there's this little dot that says interactive Q&A with Canva Live. You will want to select that. And what it's going to do is ask you, do you want to start a Canva Live presentation? I'll do start new session. And then from there, it generates this nice QR code, a link if people prefer that. If they scan the code, they don't even have to enter in the code that's on the screen. It automatically puts them there. And then as people ask questions during your presentation, it'll show up here for you on the presenter panel. I can always hide this if I don't want it to be distracting, or if everyone's joined, I want them to focus on my content. If I do show, then I can see this. There's not a way for you to filter through the messages that people put here. So just be cautious of that. You know, if you have someone who's putting something maybe they shouldn't be, I would kind of walk through and coach them on, but people can upvote questions. It doesn't have to be just used for them to ask questions. Maybe you ask questions in the presentation and that's a space for them to answer or to share their ideas. So that is a part of Canva that we all have available here in BCSC. And whenever I'm finished, I'll do end, and then I can see some of the data and the questions and responses from my session. So pretty spectacular. And that is what I have on Canva. So now we're going to segue into our next tool, and that is FigJam or Figma for education. So if you were someone who loved Jamboard, unfortunately, Google Jamboard is going away, but Google is replacing that product with this one, FigJam. So FigJam is a lot like Jamboard. It's a Google type of product where it's cloud-based, so it saves automatically. You can share it with other people and they can interact with it. You can share, and there's a link and it's view only. Whatever you would like it to do, very similar to Google products, you can do that. You can add in and embed all types of media, whether it's video, links, notes, but it's a really great space if you're doing some collaborative work like brainstorming, or if you're having your students plan out a project, or if you just want to use it as an all-in-one lesson tool. I have even seen teachers do that, where a FigJam is the space where students go and the teacher has sectioned it off to where on this part of the screen is your bell ring or your warm-up. In this part of the screen are some slides or videos that I'm doing for direct instruction. And then the next part is where students are interacting or going through different review activities, all of that type of stuff. It's really just based on what you see as an opportunity with this tool. The world is your oyster. So it is a free tool, and we do have it set up to where all students and staff at BCSC have access to it. All you have to do is sign in with your BCSC Google account to get going. So similar to Canva, there are thousands of FigJam or Figma templates that are out there. I would really recommend checking out an EdTech blogger named Tom Mullaney. He puts a lot of really good templates out there for teachers on FigJam, and I've used some of his resources in my presentation here because he's just very creative and they're wonderful. There are some additional ideas right here if you would like them. So the first time you sign into Figma, it's probably going to populate and show you some education-focused templates. I've seen things from get to know you activities for the start of the school year or even later on. I've seen ones for project, so it's great for PBL schools. I'm thinking of my CSA schools here. There's some really good templates there. There's some great project management ones if maybe you're a business teacher and you want to hone that skill with your students. There's exit tickets, bell ringers, graphic organizers here for the writing process. Pretty much anything you need is in this tool. So it can also act as an all-in-one lesson tool. So here are some examples. This is a social studies one because that's my wheelhouse, but there are lots of others that are out there. This is one where students are going through and they're voting. They're adding their reactions to these different historical events in the Cold War and reflecting. And the teacher has put in pictures. There was video on the other side of the screen that I did not include on here. All different kinds of stuff that students would have access to, and it's a very dynamic tool. So this is the part where I'm going to splice in my other recording of this video and walk you through what it actually looks like when you're building and interacting on a FigJam board. There's cool stamps too, so if you really like what someone has written or if a student does and they just want to like thumbs up it, They click the stamp button, can stamp it. That's kind of better than just like writing +1 on sticky notes like I used to have my students do. And what's really cool and what makes this different than Jamboard is that unlike Jamboard, this tracks who has done what. So it clearly labels who has written what thing, so you can easily track what students have done, maybe what they haven't done, who's gone through and edited some things, and all of that jazz. So tons of templates here. If you open a FigJam, you'll see them. But the other cool thing that I have on my next 2 slides that I'm just going to show you versus show you a screenshot are the timers and the music. So this is why I think this could be an all-in-one lesson plan tool. You can embed any type of media on here, and then you can just have students moving through things horizontally as you need to. And it's cool because there's a timer here at the top of the screen. If I click it, I have a timer I can set. I can add time, decrease it, and there's nice little ambient music that goes with it. So I can select what type of music. My students always like the lo-fi hip hop. I don't know why, that's like just their favorite. They always request that one when we do this. You know, softer, louder in the background, whatever have you, and I can set the timer and it kind of syncs together from there. And then the share button, it looks almost exactly like Google. This is where I can share it with others and give them editing access if they need to. So that is FigJam, totally free. You have access to all those paid resources. And here are just some examples of what these lessons look like that use it. And knowing we have some people in here who teach social studies, there are some really nice social studies examples on FigJam's website, because one of the people they hired to do their education resources is a former social studies teacher. So Tom Mulaney, if you know who he is, he's made a lot of really good stuff. All right, and those are just some screenshots of what I showed you. All right, 2 tools left. I have 15 minutes. I think I can do it. All right, so next one is Diffit. This is one of my favorites. I feel like I'm going to say that about all of these, but Diffit's amazing. It was free for a while, and then, like every company, they got greedy, and now they're starting to charge people for different pieces. So if you've been using Diffit, it said like free for a while until March 30th or 31st, and then they're going to start taking away some of the features on the free one. So some of the features they're going to take away are just the number of exports that you can do. So like some of these ones I have on the screen. However, I have a discount code that you can use, and it extends your premium access through the end of June. So it won't solve all of our problems moving forward, but it will at least give you some access beyond the current expiration date at the end of this month. And I have that code here in my presentation. I'll share it with you in the chat, but just thought I would let you know before I show you a tool that I do want to give you access to the paid version of it for as long as I can. So Diffit, kind of like the name applies, is for creating differentiated resources for your students. So you can type in any topic and it creates a leveled text for you, or you can upload a text. It can adjust it to different lexile and reading levels. It can translate readings for you, and it also creates some nice assessment questions that correspond with that text and that reading. So what I will do is first give you this link to extend your access. So if you want to be able to extend your access to this, I'm going to drop it in the chat. The first thing you might have to do, though, is go to Diffit and sign in with your BCSC Google account and then click this link, because it might ask you to sign in and then it will forget where it's supposed to be taking you. It did that to me the first time. But that should extend your access to where when you sign in next time, it says, oh, you've extended premium access until June something of this year. All right. So I'll give you a second to do that, and then I'm going to walk you through how to make a resource in Diffit. Okay. All right. So it can be literally anything, like it says, that it can create a resource for you. Or if you already have a website or a reading or even a YouTube video that you wanted to generate a lesson from, you can paste that, or you can upload a PDF. I have seen some people take their state standards that like the DOE gives you from a PDF file and upload that. And it actually does a pretty good job in breaking down some of those content standards. It really just depends on the standard, but it does a pretty decent job. So if I am in Diffit, I'm going to pull it up on my screen so you can see it. I'm going to type in this topic. My brain always goes to social studies, but this is when I used to teach, you know, ending of World War I. So I'm going to put the reading level at 7th grade, even though it's more of like a, middle of high school type of topic, and then generate resources. And while it thinks, I'll just walk you through what it's going to be doing. So it's going to use AI to generate an adapted reading passage for me. Right below that reading passage, it's going to give me a summary of the main points of that reading. It's going to show a list of the sources that it used to generate this reading passage. And then it's also going to give me some different assessment questions. So multiple choice, short answer, open response. And for any one of those questions, I can go in and edit it. I can ask it to come up with more. I can ask it to come up with new ones. And it also creates a vocab list and related activities for vocab words. So if you've been in DFIT before, but haven't been in the last few weeks, there have been some changes. So the first one being that they have this new image feature here, and it's not using AI to generate images. It's just pulling images from a search in Google. So like, honestly, when I did this one earlier for the group this morning, it pulled this, and like she's great, but she wasn't around during the Treaty of Versailles, and neither was he. So I would change that picture here, or you can always upload your own. Up to you. At the top of the screen, it's where you can translate it into different languages. So there, by default, it puts it in English, but you can translate as much of it or as little of it as you would like. If we're thinking about supporting our English language learners, you also can decide what gets translated. So if you want to do some translanguaging, maybe you have the reading passage translated, but some of the assessment questions or vocab isn't, just so you can build in a mix there. And you can always go in and edit that if you want to. So if I scroll further down, here's my reading passage. If I want to edit this, I can copy, send it elsewhere, shows my sources. I can hide them. Below that is the summary that I talked about. So this is nice. I'm thinking this would have been super helpful for me to have in the classroom when I had the special education teacher of record on my team, when I taught at the middle school, for me to just show like this adapted reading passage in the summary, give it to her so she knew this is what we're going to be talking about for the next few days. I wasn't always the best at communicating that on the front end side of things, so this probably would have helped some of the questions that she had, and then also in supporting students. For vocab words, if I have additional ones that I want to add here, I can add them. All I have to do is just put the word. I don't have to put in the definition. It does it for me, and I can copy those. I have multiple choice questions, and it's so kind and puts the answers there for me. I can add more, edit them. A short answer also gives answers. The only one it doesn't give the answers for you is open-ended, but that's okay because there's likely more than one answer possible. And there's some specific things that you probably need to decide that you want your students to get. So whenever this is finished, I can always copy, put this elsewhere. But the beautiful thing in DFIT that separates it from some of the other AI tools that are out there is that it takes all of the stuff that's here and then puts it in a format that works really well in Google. So I can get student activities, and this is the part they're taking away, at least some of these options in the free version, but for now you'll have access to all of them. It puts these in Google Docs and Google Slides, which is great for us in BCSC because all of our students have Google accounts, all of them have Chromebooks. I used to spend hours making my own templates and graphic organizers like this in Google Slides. Like, it took forever. It was not a super fun time, but I wanted to look a certain way. And all the ones I have on here look great. The color scheme I love, and it only takes 2 seconds. So amazing activities. They're grouped by activity type now, whereas before it was kind of random. I can favorite ones and they show up at the top of my screen, or if I toggle to favorites, they're there. I can print any of these as well as just the original screen I was just looking at. So options for students. And then if I click Google Forms quiz, it makes it a graded Google form. So it could really be an all-in-one lesson, adapted reading passage, questions there for students. And because it's a Google form, I can even add in videos and things if I want. DFIT won't make a video for you or pull them, but I could put my own and make it as robust and as flexible as I need. So right now, I'm just going to do this Frayer model and show you what that looks like. I used to use these all the time when I was in the classroom and made my own templates, and it truly did take forever. And now I look at this and I'm like, wow, how amazing would this have been? So much time would have been given back to me so I could have done other things. But that's the beauty of tech and advancing, doing all that stuff. So open Google Slides. A question I've gotten a couple times from teachers is there a way to directly put this into Canvas? Not necessarily. You can either embed it once it's in a Google Slide or Doc in your course, or you have to attach it as an external tool on a Canvas assignment, but that's easy to do, and then it makes a copy for the kiddos. So here we go. It plugged in all of those vocab words that it generated for me, and now I have an activity here where my students can go and come up with examples, not examples, put in pictures, and it's all good to go for them. So vocab activity, and it even put in some pictures here. Notice and wonder activity and the reading as well, chunked it into different slides so that it's broken up and not as overwhelming for my students to read. And now that it's in slides, I can edit this, change whatever I would like. So that is Diffit. It is free for now, and you have a code to extend your access, but that's why it's amazing, and you can translate all of it. Last tool that I'm going to cover in like 4 minutes and then give you like 60 seconds to vote is another AI tool, but it has a lot more bells and whistles than some of the other AI tools I'll cover on Thursday. And this is Brisk. So Brisk Teaching is a free extension. And when you first sign up, they will give you access to they're like Diffit, they're doing paid stuff too. They'll give you access to the paid stuff for a month, but I've asked them for a code to extend it, and they're supposed to get back with me hopefully this week. They're at a conference, but it's called Brisk. If you install the extension, then you'll be able to walk through all the stuff that I'm going to show you. So initially, when Brisk came out a few months ago, it was purely just for giving feedback on students' writing, but they've really leveled up this resource. Now you can use it to make a Google Forms quiz, a quiz in Google Docs. It can make Google Slides, the template choices and themes for the slides. There's not that many of them, but if you're in a pinch, it works. It can make leveled text. It can help you with writing an email, and it still can help with feedback. And it works really well in Google resources too. So here's an example. Once you install the extension, it pops up kind of in the bottom corner of your screen, and I'll toggle away here for a second so you can see what that looks like. But if you open Brisk, it'll ask you what you want to do. So the create button allows you to make slides, a reading, assessment questions. So if I have a YouTube video and I want it to make an activity for me, pull up my YouTube video, click the Brisk button, and then I can make an activity straight from that screen. The feedback is probably my favorite part. So I have an example of a very poorly written essay about George Washington, where there's lots of errors and things on here for feedback. This was a fake one that I pulled from somewhere. This is not how Brittany writes, I promise. But to open up Brisk, the extension will be up here when I first install it, but then after you click it one time, it shows up here on the right-hand side. So if I click Brisk, we're not going to do create, but this is where I can make a lesson plan, activities. They do have an AI detection tool, but I'm not showing you that because AI detection tools are not accurate. And there's been a lot of data that shows that it's reporting things as being AI when it's not. And professors have been failing students for their own original work. So I don't like to go down that rabbit hole personally. It's there. Don't necessarily recommend using those tools, but the feedback button is my favorite. And the one that I love is this glow and grow. So it'll give some positives for the students, some constructive feedback, things for them to work on, and then some questions if some of their writing needs a little bit more clarification or if you have questions. The cool thing too is that you can also upload a rubric that maybe you have for a project or a writing assignment, and then it creates feedback aligned with that rubric. So I would go through, type in some things I want my, Brisk to go through, then you click the little brisket button. And I already did that on this assignment. So it put this little table of glow, grow, and wondering at the top of my student's essay. So my thought on this and how I talked with an English teacher at the middle school who's been using it is she said, she has 150 students. It's impossible to give lots of feedback during the writing process, but she knows it's valuable. So she used this to go through, give feedback on a student's rough draft, and then she did station rotations in her room. And at the teacher station, she went through and gave more details on what this was. So this really helped do a really quick first pass at feedback and gave students some guidance and direction without her having to spend hours of her weekend doing that. So it's amazing. It is free. I'll have a discount code for you hopefully soon, but it works really well with Google products. So I thought I would share that one with you today. And it can also translate resources as well into multiple languages, as well as the feedback that you provide in case you need that in a different language. So we have 2 minutes. I did it. Wow. I feel like I was probably talking on hyperspeed. So if you feel like, oh my goodness, this is fast, I promise the next ones won't be as crazy. I tried to cram a lot of tools into 30 minutes. And I love talking about all of them, so it's more controlling myself from saying too much. It is now time to vote on the 2 tools you want to advance. So I'm dropping a Google form link in the chat. When you fill out that Google form, that tracks your entry for prizes. And it also will send you a professional growth point certificate for joining in today. And I'll have a Google form like that pretty much for every round that we do to advance. So you decide if it's Canva or FigJam or Diffit or Brisk. And then the last thing I am going to put in the chat for you is our schedule for all of the other upcoming sessions. So I tried to make it to where they're on Tuesdays and Thursdays pretty consistently, but minus today, I will do a much better job at trying to record all of them. So if you miss one, you can still do the voting on the poll and still get your PGP if you need those. So last thing in the chat there is our schedule. Our next session of the Sweet 16 tournament here for AI tools is on Thursday. We'll do a morning session, then afternoon, same time as today. We'll be looking at Magic School, School AI, CuriePod, and Question Well. So some fun AI tools that I think you will love. And I'll show you some new features because several of those tools have brand new things that I haven't been able to show you until just a couple days ago. So that is what I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I just opened the wrong thing. And thank you so much for joining today. You want to stay on for a few more minutes? I can answer some questions. Otherwise, our time is up. And I appreciate you joining and being awesome. Thank you.